How are we all feeling? It's nearly, 4 o'clock on a Friday? Yeah? I think you are brilliant. You've got resilience. You're still here. I wonder why. Okay. Well, I want to say a couple of things that, I think are pretty cool and pretty exciting. So remember the date, the time, and the historical moment, because you are in the room today to hear something which I think is really exciting. If it isn't, oh God, I look dumb, right, after this. But I'm going to talk a bit about this thing called connectivity. And this is fascinating, I think. Broadband in the world, you see this little time chart here, and the consumption of it, in the world it's going a bit like that, isn't it? Because everybody's doing Netflix, they're gaming, they're doing augmented reality. I don't know what they're doing in those Tesla suits at times, but it's interesting, isn't it? The world is flying on technology. But the line in blue is how much bandwidth currently is being consumed by schools. Isn't that interesting? Think about it for a moment. Technology consumption and absorption in the world is flying, but bandwidth consumption in schools is flatlining. So what does that tell us? Any ideas? We're on the cusp of a paradigm change. Yeah? We're going to change. Because at the moment we think, well, we don't really need loads of bandwidth, John. Yeah, that's correct. However, there are reasons why we're going to need that bandwidth, and soon. I don't know why that was there. Somebody's done that to me again. One-to-one devices, right? How many of you, particularly in secondaries, have got a strategy of putting a one-to-one device ratio in place, or are in planning it now? For you, I guarantee your bandwidth curve is going up right now. Am I correct? So we've got one person in the room already who's on that curve and that journey who needs more bandwidth. Yeah? Cloud. Okay. If things aren't on the premise, they're in the cloud, right? And to get to the cloud, guess what you need? Bandwidth. Okay. So cloud is coming. It's accelerating. So you're going to need that bandwidth. Hey, if you're going to do augmented reality and you're going to put the headsets on in the room for the kids, you don't want them doing this, do you? You want them doing this. Whoa, no, rock and roll, Hey, you want it to be smooth, you want it to be a brilliant experience. If we haven't got the bandwidth going into the headsets to get the children online, it ain't going to encourage them, it's not going to make them creative, it's not going to inspire them, is it? It's going to turn them off. So guess what? We need more bandwidth. As soon as you start pushing video into schools, imagine what would happen if 5 or 6, classrooms all started putting 4K Netflix down the line over a piece of copper. What do you think would happen? It wouldn't go very quick, would it? So, again, another reason why we need to be thinking about bandwidth. So, this brings me back to this chart, which is a false chart of where we're going to be very soon. Okay? UK schools are going to increase dramatically over the next few years their consumption of bandwidth. I guarantee it in this room today, that chart will start to go in the same direction as the consumer. Yeah? Because as you do cloud, as you do augmented reality, as you stream services up there, you're going to consume it. So what does that mean for LGfL and our relationship with schools? Well, I think we need to show leadership in the UK market and globally that we are preparing schools for the future. Okay? We want the schools to be in a position to lead the world, because we know, even though the data doesn't tell us this today, we're going to need it tomorrow, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Good. I've got some good loud noise in the... Right. Now, so what can I tell you what we're going to do? What should I do as someone who's providing bandwidth to you? We should aspire to create the fastest schools network in the world. Probably. I say probably because I haven't done the analysis, and I could find myself, I don't know, in North Korea. But in all seriousness, we have to create an infrastructure that puts you where you need to be to meet the needs of children and teachers in the future. Okay? So let's think big. Let's not just do something small. Let's think big. Let's create and go for creating the fastest schools network in the world. And I'll tell you what's interesting. I can only do this because we've got thousands of schools who, when they come together, enable me to buy the bandwidth at a price that no one else can buy it at in this market. Yeah? So what I'm going to start with is, instantly, I want to take the minimum requirement for bandwidth in London to 100 meg. Okay? Now, I can't do it today, and I can't do it tomorrow. How many primary schools are in the room? How many of you are on 100 meg? Yeah, some of you are doing better. But the minimum I'm going to put every primary school in London to is 100 meg. And, in addition to that, it's not going to cost the school a penny more. Okay? And not only that, I'm going to put a platform in place that will enable every primary school, if it wants to go up to 500 meg. Okay? So we won't be, and 100 meg is the minimum. Some of you I know are on more than 100, so you'll get more than you've got now. But I don't even want to make it too complicated today. But the 100 meg, I think, as a minimum, is very disruptive in the UK market. How many schools in the UK are currently in primary, on 100 meg? Not a lot. So right away, we've got a platform for primary that says 100 meg is the minimum, and we can take it to 500 meg if we want to. Okay? So we're going to be writing to schools in the not too distant future to say, do you want it? Do you want it for free?
Yes.
Absolutely. That's what I wanted to hear. Otherwise, I'm in trouble. I shouldn't sign any deals and get out of them quick. But the platform, as I say, will take you up to 500. And not only will we create a bandwidth improvement, but we're also going to improve what that network can do. Because we know the network technology we have today could be better for cloud. So a number of you who are more technical in the room will know about things like VRFs, yeah, and all that kind of stuff, and Cloud Connect within routers and all that kind of good stuff. We're going to put the platforms in place on top of the bandwidth that will allow you to start doing some crazy, interesting things with your networks. And that includes the firewall thing, the freedom to firewall. Secondary schools, we're going to take to a minimum of 500. And for those that are on 500 today, you're going to be on a gig. How many secondary schools are in the room? Is that good news? You're not going to pay any more for it. So you tell me, in the UK today, who has the ambition to put that in place? At no additional cost to schools. LGfL. Because we serve you. And you're expecting us, as your provider, as your enabler, to deliver a world-class network. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I will need your support to do this. I will need to help get that kit into your schools. I will want you to consume that bandwidth, but you don't have to. But I'd encourage you to do that. Get using things like Creative Cloud. Get using the augmented reality. Get using the Office 365 and G Suite platforms. Start streaming your spy cams up to the cloud. Didn't say that. Is that on camera? But in all seriousness, this will give you the capability to do the things that will transform teaching and learning in your schools, in this country. And I think it's absolutely right that we should be a beacon to the rest of the world because, you know, and I meant it this morning, already you are demonstrating through this community that not only can we implement something in schools, we can make it so big it becomes in the top 3 implementations in the world. So with this, you know, putting schools at the forefront of digital on what we hope will be one of the world's fastest networks, hey, we all win. And I'm pretty excited about that. And the fact is, it's not going to cost you any more money. That's what's really important. I know. I'm trying to do my bit for saving you some money. And what I've calculated already is if we do this, on average, there'll be a 200% increase in bandwidth, on average, in schools that we serve. So think about that for one moment. Yeah? 200% increase in bandwidth, yeah, coming on stream at no additional cost. With all those additional capabilities and all that additional firewalling stuff we were talking about earlier, you will be in a position to lead, to take education forward and to transform it. So, I hope that today has inspired you a bit, has energized you a bit, and has convinced you a bit that we can actually do big things. We can change the landscape in this room of UK education. We can transform the experience for schools. And best of all, we can do some fantastic things for children. And, you know, I want to thank you for your continued support. I also want to thank our partners who are making this possible, including Virgin Media. I want to thank all the third-party support organisations out there who supported LGfL and who we're now working with much more closely. And hopefully that is useful to you in terms of going forward. But I also want to say, just to finish off, Dave, if I'm okay for time, but I also want to thank my team because, you know, this, many times my name's come up today, but I'm just the guy who turns up in the daft shirt, right? I am blessed with a fantastic team, you know, who are doing some fantastic things with schools. You know, they've got teams that are out there now regularly in schools, helping them to use the resources. They've made this event possible. We're getting more ambitious in terms of what we can do, as you can see. And together with that team, with your support, with that third-party support network, and with all the big, giant, global people, I think the future is bright. And I'd like to say thank you very much, and thanks for attending today. I hope this is great news for you.